Tears of the Kingdom is officially on the horizon and is releasing in about a week. Words cannot express how excited I am for this game, so I thought it would be just fitting to look back on its predecessor, the amazing Breath of the Wild, but specifically where it fell. So this video, I'm going to be going over where it fell and where Tears of the Kingdom can improve. But before the video starts, consider liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications. This is the best way to support me, and it really helps to keep videos coming. I also have other socials like a Twitch, TikTok, and a second channel, which you should all follow for extra content. So don't get me wrong, I really love Breath of the Wild. I think it's a masterpiece that completely reshaped the world of open world games. Words cannot describe how Zelda's completely open world approach changed the way how every other open world game worked. It may seem old now, but it's absolutely mind-blowing how in Zelda you could explore every corner of the huge map with no limits at all. So it's great, but you know what else is also great about Zelda? The audio. So much amazing music and audio details are present, and one thing that helped was these new Sony headphones which I got. Too bad my charging cable is all disorganized. Good thing I bought this cable organizer and headphone stand from Temu. Now I can display my cool headphones with no mess. If you would like to buy things just like this, sign up for Temu using my affiliate link down below. Anyways, the game isn't all perfect. A staple of Zelda are its in-depth and creative dungeons. This game basically doesn't have any of that. Shrines exist as underground puzzle rooms, and there are tons of them, but they all look pretty similar and look a lot different than dungeons of old. Kind of like really bite-sized dungeons with different aesthetic, but you get it. So apart from shrines, the closest thing to dungeons are the Divine Beasts. 5 dungeon-like structures full of puzzles. Too bad these kinda blow. Like, they're fine, but they're essentially multiple shrines with a boss at the end. A lot of the bosses also may not look the same, but also act the same as each other. I mean, except the DLC's Dungeon Monk boss, but I'll get into that maybe in another video. While they are pretty boring, I guess I could put praise on how it's cool that you can interact with and move the beasts to unlock more puzzles, but that's just one point. It is a pretty cool feature though. But it does seem like they're fixing this problem in the next game. In the newest Tears of the Kingdom trailer, we see several shots of huge buildings and underground areas. So it looks like we're going to be exploring dungeons once again, which I'm really excited about. So while the issue with the dungeons is pretty big, I think Breath of the Wild's bigger offense is with its story. Zelda games are basically known for their grand stories they present. Even if they aren't the greatest, they still serve a big meaning and can sometimes be really moving. Things like Majora's Mask or Skyward Sword come to mind. So what does Breath of the Wild have? Well, it's complicated. Breath of the Wild doesn't really have a story. It's more focused on its grand adventure and its grand exploration. So there's not a lot in the game itself. I would say Breath of the Wild essentially has a beginning, not really a middle, and an ending. So let's talk about that. In the beginning of the game, we see that Link has a form of amnesia with no memories of the past. So throughout the game, one of the main goals is to collect little memories to all form together a memory for Link, if that makes sense. Here's a quick recap of those memories. We see the land of Hyrule is preparing for the awakening of Calamity Ganon, which is a sort of ancient beast that will destroy Hyrule. Zelda and her dad are like the main rulers of Hyrule. Zelda's dad is the king and Zelda's the princess. Zelda has these ancient powers which she can use to seal away Ganon. It's just she doesn't really know how to use them, since her mom was the only one who had knowledge of it, and her mom died when she was young. Zelda also gets a guard with Link. Link is this hero character that wields the Master Sword. The Master Sword is the destined sword that goes to the hero that will seal the darkness, blah blah blah. Links will always reincarnate, blah blah blah. If you understand Zelda lore, you'll get it. Just look up the ending of Skyward Sword. So we see a lot of Zelda and Link in these memories. They first start out as not having the closest relationship, as Zelda doesn't really like Link, but they eventually evolve into a pretty cute relationship. Seriously, Nintendo should just allow them to date. I wouldn't mind if they let them kiss in the end of the game. Literally, Nintendo, get on it. So apart from Link and Zelda, there's also the champions, who will pilot the Divine Beasts, which are also ancient technology. Now that I mention it, I haven't really talked about it. Basically, Hyrule is littered with a bunch of ancient technology, and these guardians or these Divine Beasts, they didn't know how to use it for years, but now they're starting to learn how to use it again. Anyways, each race has a respected champion. The Rito has Revali, who is very courageous, brave, but also pretty selfish. The Gerudo have Urbosa, who is strong and courageous since she's a Gerudo warrior. The Zora have Mipha, who is very kind. And the Gorons have Daruk, who is super strong and has little fears. Now, don't get me wrong, I like the champions. It's just we don't really see them together. All of the screen time we get of the champions is one-on-one between either Link or Zelda, and we don't really see how they grow as a group, so it's kinda hard to believe that they're one big group. Anyways, near the end of the memory, Zelda fails to get her powers in time, and basically everybody dies. The champions go off to command their Divine Beasts, the Divine Beasts get taken over by Calamity Ganon, and they get trapped there for eternity. We don't even see what happens with them, it's all off screen and is just told to us. In the final memory, we see Zelda use her powers on a random guardian which was about to attack Link. Link is wounded and has to be sealed away in the Resurrection Chamber for 100 years, and the Master Sword is put away in Korok Forest for Link to find it later. Kind of a disappointing ending, but it's cool how we got to at least see one little look at Zelda's powers. Oh yeah, then there's the DLC. I don't really like the DLC's memories. The gameplay's really fun, but the memories are just kind of disappointing. We get to see quote-unquote other sides of the champions, but a lot of it was pretty self-explanatory. Revali's pretty self-conscious and needs to be perfect at all times. Urbosa just doesn't have another side of her personality, she's just always strong and courageous and cool. Mipha has a little crush on Link, I guess. She seems a bit jealous of Zelda, but we could already piece that together. And Daruk is just scared of dogs. I guess it was kind of a funny memory, but I didn't see the importance of it. I don't know why that exists. I also forgot to mention that I think every champion has a diary that you can find that'll tell more about their personality, but I'm just talking about the story that's conveyed in cutscenes right now. So the final cutscene in the DLC shows the first time when they were all recruited as champions and together. They took a group photo together, but I find this photo really dumb because it makes it seem like they're one big happy family, but we never really see them interact. Even in this memory, we don't see them interact, so I don't know why. Anyways, now that we got all that context, we can get into the main game. Link wakes up and is tasked to fix every Divine Beast which has been taken over by Calamity Ganon. So we do this, freeing each champion in the process, and it also allows the Divine Beast to help us in the fight against Ganon, so that was pretty helpful. With all of this in mind, and with Zelda's encouragement, we can finally fight Calamity Ganon and free Zelda. Zelda then asks Link if he remembers her, and the credits roll. Now, of course, if we collected the Master Sword and every memory, we'd get treated to the post-credit cutscene. In the cutscene, we see Zelda and Link watching over Hyrule, and Zelda talks about the Master Sword and how they are working to rebuild Hyrule. You see, this is where they should have kissed, but they never did. And with that, that leaves us with the full end of the game. And, it's certainly something. Breath of the Wild story's not bad. I mean, it's definitely something, it's just there's not much to it. There's not really any big events because of how open-ended the game is. There's barely any other main quests, and there's barely any characters. I mean, we do meet these sort of successors to the champions, but they make such a small role in the game that I literally forgot to write them in the script. I mean, sure, they're okay, it's just Link barely interacts with them throughout the story. Sidon is still the best though. So, what can Tears of the Kingdom do about this? Well, I think we've already seen some improvements. The game not only looks more cinematic, but also more character rich at the very least. We see several mystery characters, as well as more of the new champions, and an actual villain with Ganondorf. If Tears of the Kingdom takes the memory route again, at least it seems like we'd have more characters and a bit more substance to make up for it. I guess this is just a risk in choosing to make a fully open world game. What once was a grand story melts away for a grand adventure, and it seems like linear progression wouldn't work well for the format Nintendo went for. So I'm not 100% sure that the story in Tears of the Kingdom will be able to live up as stories of Zelda's past, but I definitely think it will be an improvement over Breath of the Wild. That's all I really have to say about the matter, because all we can do now is just wait. Just another 7 days, and then I'll see if Zelda Link is official. Please make it canon.